Hey everybody, my name is Brittany. I started studying the Bible in April of 2017, and when I started, I knew nothing about it. And it was very overwhelming. It was a lot to learn. It was even stressful at some points. So I decided that I wanted to start a Bible study for beginners. Not a lot of explanation, just basic overview so that beginners know where to go and what's where in their Bible. Today we have gotten through all of New Testament except for Revelation. So that's what we're going to do today. It is often regarded as the hardest book in the Bible to understand. That's because there's a lot of similes and metaphors and crazy visions that don't exactly mean what the vision. It's ridiculous. And another reason is because a lot of people have different viewpoints on it. They interpret it differently. And my belief is that you were supposed to read the Bible yourself, and whatever you get from that Bible is what you personally need that day. I've read Revelation several times, and every time I read it I get something new out of it because it's what I need for my soul at that point in time. So it's what God talks to me about through the Bible, kind of thing. So I am going to try to stay as neutral as possible and not give my opinion on what I think about things in Revelation. I'm just going to try and give you the facts and give you maybe what, like, the few things that people believe, kind of thing. Let you choose how you see it. It was written by John, but we're not really sure which one. And when it was written, it was meant to be a circular letter for Christians as they were going through persecution. It was supposed to bring them comfort and let them know that God is still in control no matter what happens. Let's see. So it starts, excuse me, I'm going to take a drink. It starts with Jesus appearing to John, and Jesus had been in heaven for 60 years, and asking him to write letters to 7 churches concerning what they were doing wrong and what they were doing right. And you will notice the number 7 will be used a lot in this book. It is the number of completion. As is 6 the number of the devil, 7 is completion. And let's see. Chapter 5 begins the apocalypse signs. So here is where people vary on their beliefs. Some people believe that this happened shortly after this book was written, around 90 AD. Some think that it's happening now, like it's just this long carried out kind of thing. And some think it's going to happen in the future. It is up to you to decide which one of those that you believe. As we read on, let's see, let me try to do a little bit. You should know, and like I said, I want to try and keep this as neutral as possible, so I'm just giving you the overview of this. You should know that, 1, Jesus is portrayed as a slain lamb throughout this book. So he's this lamb, he's this sweet, snuggly, like, non-violent animal that has obviously been slain like Jesus was. And it kind of portrays his love and his gentleness and his kindness being a lamb. And he's also the Lion of Judah. So we go on, and there are several things. 7 seals, 7 bowls, 7 trumpets, signifying all the bad things that were to happen to humans, like plagues, famines, wars, and it was going to be put on humans. And even though all of this was being put on the humans, most of them would still not repent and ask for forgiveness and follow God. And he was doing this to try to show his power. It's it's really intense because a lot of people are being killed, and it's still people are just set in their ways. Let's see. Okay, so then John has a vision, and here starts the weird visions that you have to interpret of a dragon, and it's like it's the devil. It's the devil-like serpent from Adam and Eve, so it's grown from a serpent to a dragon now, attacking a woman who is Israel, who is pregnant, and that's Jesus. But the dragon is defeated and thrown down to earth, where he tries to find and harm the woman. But she is hidden in safety, and this made him angry, so he declares war on the rest of her children, which are, if the woman's Israel, which that would be God's people. So it's all of the imagery to show that Satan is declaring war on God's people. So then I'm looking at my notes here because there's so much in here. There was 3 angels who begged people to repent and worship God and not follow Babylon. Babylon represents the wickedness of the world. All the idols, all the sexual immorality, all that. And there's a vision of an angel gathering up wheat, which signifies God's people, and another angel pressing grapes into wine, which are not God's people. So you've got the one picking up the good wheat and using it for food, and then the other one that's pressing and stomping the juice out of grapes to turn it into a alcoholic drink. So that's good imagery there. I like that one. And then John is John is shown the new earth. So sorry. So this new earth, it's most people believe this to be heaven. You've got the new earth and the new Jerusalem. And when you're there, there's no sadness, there's no wars, there's no famines, no diseases, no death, no nothing. It's like Eden at the beginning of the Bible where Adam and Eve lived. It's just wonderful. It's paradise. And the city is beautiful. It's made of gold with gold streets and the finest of jewels and precious stones, and it's just wonderful. And this is the end of the Bible. And the last few paragraphs say to follow its words, not to add or not to subtract anything, but follow it so you can enter the New Jerusalem. It's a great book. It's very difficult and very overwhelming, and it feels like it's mocking you at sometimes. But it's a wonderful book to really get into it, and once you understand what all of the images stand for, it's much easier to really understand it, and you can form your own opinions of what is actually going on and what you think is gonna happen. So next week we're gonna start all over. We're gonna go to the beginning of the Bible and start Old Testament. Old Testament, and with the beginning. So the Genesis is one of my favorite books. I am definitely a New Testament girl. I understand the New Testament. I read it a lot more. I understand it a lot better. But I do love Genesis. It's good. But I will see you next week. Y'all have a great week. God bless.